Hello, my name is Max Gerard and I'm the VP of Global Technical Services here at Eggplant. And I'd like to talk to you today about how you can optimize customer experience, save lives and beyond with the Eggplant suite. So first of all, a bit of an agenda. I'd like to give a bit of a company introduction first to show where we sit in the market and also let you understand what the solutions are that we provide. I'd then like to walk through some case studies where we'll be able to show you how the companies shown have achieved their business outcomes with the help of Eggplant. And then finally, I'd like to go and show you a demonstration of our suite of products. So Eggplant is the leader in both Gartner and Forrester for test automation. And one of the real reasons that we are doing so well is because of the innovative solutions that we are providing, allowing you to take post-production data to go and drive the tests in pre-production so that you're continuously improving the tests that you're running and you're understanding exactly what it is the users are doing, so that when you release your product, you know that it's going to be working in the exact way that your users want it to. First of all, a bit of the view of the market on customer experience. And I'm just going to pick out a few of these particular taglines over here. One of the ones I really like is that by 2020, customer experience will overtake price and product as the key brand differentiator. So no longer can folks just be the cheapest on the market. You need to really wow people with your customer experience. And the only way you can do that is by understanding exactly what it is that the real users are doing on the system and then allowing your testing to go and behave in the exact same way by executing all of the journeys and actions that your real users are doing, not just the ones that in a test meeting were drawn up based upon some perhaps quite unreliable bits of data. So let me introduce you to the two suites of products that we have and then how all of these tie together to go and deliver our customer experience optimization vision. So this is the Digital Automation Intelligence Suite, and this is all about allowing you to continuously test and optimize your application. So how does this work? Well, first of all, you create a model of your application using what we call states and actions. We then link that into our Fusion engine, which allows you to do any action that a real user would and test functionality, usability, and performance. We then allow you to connect to any device, system, or app and reuse assets across both mobile, desktop, and different operating systems. And then finally, our Release Insights product shows the business impact of the current release that you have. So instead of going into those release meetings and saying, we've run 1,000 tests and we've had a 98% success rate, we can go into those meetings and say, based upon all the results that we've got from the testing with Eggplant, we predict our App Store rating will go up by 0.3 stars and our revenue on this application will go up by 5%. Great, we're going to release. So we're giving you real business data so that you can decide whether or not to release your product. We also have our Customer Experience Insights suite. And this is really all about allowing you to continuously monitor and understand what the experience that your real users are having. So our real customer insights product allows you to follow every single journey that your users are doing on an application. So then you can go and see, well, actually, the users on iPhones are having a great experience, but actually those on Android aren't. We can understand why they aren't having a great experience, and perhaps we can go and adjust the type of service that we provide them. Maybe we don't provide them with the HD image on the home page. Maybe we actually give them a scaled down icon so that even if people are on different devices, your service can still go and be delivered to someone in a usable way. And bringing all that together is what we call customer experience optimization. So what we're really doing here is allowing you to take all of the data that you have post-production from our Customer Experience Insights suite and feed that back into our pre-production Digital Automation Intelligence suite so that we can auto-generate all of the test cases and journeys that the real users are doing, and we can have our AI model behave exactly as your users are. We can also go and reuse all of the assets from the Digital Automation Intelligence suite to allow you to go and monitor live your application. So we then really have this cyclical a process which is what we're calling customer experience optimization. It's all about allowing you to take your post-production data to define your testing, and then take those tests to give you your monitoring. So let's talk through a few of the case studies now. The first of these is going to be Cerner. So what we helped Cerner do was to go and accelerate their delivery times by 23%. And I'd like to talk about now how we managed to do that. So first of all, who are Cerner? Cerner are the #1 provider of electronic medical records in the whole of the United States, used by 27,000 hospitals and clinics, $3.5 billion revenue, 26,000 people, a huge enterprise organization. The big challenge that Cerner faced was a rapidly changing set of regulations that meant Cerner had to reduce delivery cycles by at least 20% to try and go and hit their goals. The availability and cost of testers with domain and tech expertise required was a blocker. Actually, they needed to go and repurpose certain nurses to go and create the tests. And one of the amazing things with Eggplant is that it is so easy to use that even those without any technical background can really quickly get up and running and start writing useful tests. Finally, increasing ambitious targets of saving more lives. There are literally times where a minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds can make the difference about whether someone survives or someone doesn't. And we have helped Cerner create software that is quicker, more reliable, easier to use, that has had a direct impact on whether a person's life can go and be saved. And we have helped increase that percentage. So what was the solution? Well, we delivered them the Digital Automation Intelligence Suite, which enabled Cerner to change the team configuration from 5 engineers and 1 tester to 15 engineers and 1 test analyst. So what did we really do here? What we did here was we empowered all of the test analysts at Cerner with a Digital Automation Intelligence Suite so that they could go and have thousands of tests created very, very quickly. But not only that, we've allowed the test to adjust every single iteration. So by understanding how the real users use the application has had an implication on how we've done the tests in pre-production with the Digital Automation Intelligence Suite. And by doing this, we've been able to accelerate delivery times by 23% and reduce costs at the same time. And here's an example of a test running. So we can see here on the right-hand side the Eggplant AI model, and on the left-hand side we can see the EMR application and the test. And what you can notice is that the model is doing a journey through the application. The bits here in right and dark purple you could think of as the screens in the application, and the bits here in grey that are flashing around, these are the actions that you can do on those screens. And of course each action takes you to a new screen. So by using artificial intelligence, Eggplant AI is defining the journey that we're doing based upon bits of data that we've gathered. So maybe, for example, we know that on the login screen there is always lots and lots of bugs when people enter in a password before username. So we make sure that we optimize to go and always test password before username, because we've learned from previous test results in the past that that is a really common error that is brought into the application. So we're constantly learning about the application based upon previous test results, plus many other algorithms. So what was the lesson learned at Cerner? The lesson learned at Cerner is that outsourcing works better when the product is easy to use. So Cerner had a services partner to assist with some of the test automation, and a lot of those people were only ever doing manual testing in the past. So to go and ask them to learn things like Java or C would have just been a really big change. So we have allowed them with the Digital Automation Intelligence Suite, which is very, very easy to use, automatically generates your test for you and gives you a very simple user interface with which to go and run your testing. We have put the product in the hands of non-technical people. The next case study I'd like to talk about is Walmart, where we have helped Walmart reduce the cost of testing its point-of-sale terminals by 47% via our Universal Fusion engine, which can automate any technology and any device, which you can see happening here with the Ingenico card reader being driven by a robot that is being controlled by Eggplant. So what's the Walmart story? Well, many of you may know Walmart, of course, a retailer. They're the world's largest company by revenue, with $486 billion and 2.3 million employees. The big challenge that Walmart had was to go and reduce the cost of testing their point of sale terminals. The amount of combinations of terminals, the amount of operating systems they are running, the number of ways in which they're being used was ever expanding, and the test team just couldn't keep up by doing the testing manually. So, what was the solution? We enabled Walmart to use our Universal Fusion Engine and our Digital Automation Intelligence Suite, which can automate any system whatsoever. So because of that, we could do full end-to-end testing. So we were able to connect into a point of sale terminal. We were able to connect into a mobile device. We were able to hook into the back-end database and automate the full user journey that someone would go through if they were in a Walmart store. So what you can see happening on screen here is in the Walmart environment, where we are controlling a robot that will go and take a credit card. It will then go and swipe that credit card. This robot is being controlled by Eggplant. After that, we'll go and connect into the POS terminal, and we'll go and verify that after swiping the card, the screen of the POS terminal displays the correct information. We can then go and scan a product if you wanted to, or we could go and complete the purchase. So we're really showing you here how Eggplant can automate a full end-to-end user journey. So what was the lesson learned at Walmart? The lesson learned is that full end-to-end testing is possible with a single automation suite. No longer do you have to build custom frameworks for different operating systems, different applications. Because of the way that the Eggplant suite works, we can test any platform, any device, all in a single test run. So those very, very complex end-to-end tests that everyone is now starting to have with the coming about of Internet of Things, the devices, watches, we can automate all of that cycle. The next case that I'd like to talk about is Citibank. So we worked on a project with Citibank where we have helped them increase their App Store rating from 3 stars to 4.5 stars by reducing test cycles by 52% and improving performance by 80%. So let me talk you through how we did that. Well, of course, Citi are one of the big 4 banks in the world, $71 billion of revenue, 210,000 employees. Citi are currently ranked 4th behind JP Morgan, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo, and they believe that digital channels are the key to their success. The big problem they were having, their application was rated very, very low on the App Store. That is a huge thing to have. Today, people go and pick their bank, not necessarily on the branch that is closest to them anymore, but actually on the quality of the mobile application that you can provide. So how do we help them solve this problem? Well, we enabled in-sprint testing to go faster and provide even greater coverage. So we've increased their test coverage by 70%. We've reduced test creation time by 10 times. And we've done that by allowing them to create a model of their application rather than create one test case at a time. We've reduced release cycle time by 50%. And we've also helped them improve user experience by reducing render times by 80%. After we've ran this project with them, their App Store rating is now improved to 4.5 stars. What we're showing here is that the Eggplant suite can have a direct impact on your business, and that is everything that we as a company are about. We want to help you improve the customer experience that your users are having, and for you to also go and hit your business outcomes. So here's an example of Eggplant AI automating the Citibank application. You'll notice on the left a model of the application, where the bits in dark purple are the screens, the bits in grey are the actions, and Eggplant AI is deciding on a journey to do on the device based upon previous results, based upon where most users go on the application. And so we're no longer talking here about test cases. We are allowing you to use artificial intelligence to define the journeys to go and do, and that is how you can improve the product. So what was the lesson learned at Citi? Well, the lesson learned at Citi was well-run testing projects can significantly improve your App Store rating. So by allowing you to test functionality, performance, and usability with a single suite of products, this has been made easy to do by Eggplant. So what did we do for NTT Docomo? Well, what we did for NTT Docomo was help them raise their Net Promoter Score by 45 points by applying predictive user and release analytics to their suite of devices. So what's the NTT Docomo story? Well, NTT Docomo are the largest mobile phone operator in Japan, and they offer lots of online services such as music, photo sharing, news. Now, Japan is becoming an increasingly competitive market with mobile phone operators such as SoftBank becoming stronger and stronger, and foreign portals such as Instagram becoming more and more popular. NTT Docomo, with their research, found out that the key to competing in this space is heavily driven by word of mouth and your net promoter, and is measured by your Net Promoter Score. Now, unfortunately, at the time we started working with NTT Docomo, their Net Promoter Score wasn't that good. Compared to its competitors, who were closer to 30, NTT Docomo were at -10. So we wanted to work with NTT to help them improve this. So how do we do that? Well, we deployed the Customer Experience Insights platform and the Eggplant Release Analytics product to allow them to predict that if they were to release their product today, what impact would that have on their Net Promoter Score? So rather than releasing the product and really just hoping that it would increase their score, we could tell them with huge accuracy what impact this would have. So if it would have a negative impact, we wouldn't release, and if it would have a positive impact, we would release. The result? A 45-point increase in NPS over a period of 12 months, with 30 consecutive releases that all improved the Net Promoter Score at NTT, really showing that by using a well-deployed, well-engineered testing and monitoring suite, you can really go and impact your users. The big lesson learned: it's possible to accurately predict the impacts of release prior to releasing. This is something that just isn't currently possible with any other suite, because no one else is combining the gathering of data post-production and feeding that into pre-production, and then with a layer of analytics over the top to go and understand, if we release today, what impact will that have? So now I'd like to talk about JP Morgan. So at JP Morgan, we've helped decrease the impact that data changes have on the operation of the business by reducing manual testing effort by 80%. JP Morgan has many changes in data every single day, and they found that they were massively affecting the amount of testing they would need to do before they could release a new version of the product. So here's a little bit on the JP Morgan story. First of all, JP Morgan, 250,000 employees and the largest bank in the United States. The challenge? Every time new data was imported into their microgen system, it was taking weeks or months to do the testing to allow the data to be used by the team. This was all being done manually, and there was an exponential increase in the amount of testing that was very quickly becoming completely unmanageable. The microgen system was from a third party, and thus there was no access to the underlying source code of the application, a problem faced by, I'm sure, many of you watching today. And by using our suite, which supports any platform, we can easily go and solve that problem. The final challenge that JP Morgan had: there was no budget for hiring any new testers. So what was the solution? Well, we deployed the Digital Automation Intelligence Suite and helped them to automate testing by simulating actions exactly as a real user would, rather than trying to look at the underlying code, which wasn't possible because this application was from a third party. And rather than skip the testing of certain workflows to be hit to hit a release deadline, Eggplant allowed all possible workflows to go and be automated. So no longer do you need to go and reduce the scope of your testing to allow you to get it done. You can go and allow the Digital Automation Intelligence Suite to create a model of your application, and then you can go and run any test that a real user would. So what was the lesson learned here? Well, the lesson learned really is that user experience matters even for back office applications. To allow JP Morgan to be more productive, they have to make their back office applications more friendly. The new generations of people in the workforce will no longer accept that the excuse that a back-off application is always difficult to use, with a poor user interface, with bugs that are just user problems. Everyone has grown up with mobile phone devices in their hands, and if an application doesn't work correctly, they will delete it and will not use it. That is now being fed into all back office applications, or any application that anyone has to use. So for those of you that think that the user experience of back office applications doesn't matter, JP Morgan is testament that they do. So now I'd like to talk to you about Cook. We've helped Cook increase their online revenue by 7% by identifying which technical behaviors were impacting conversions and proposing optimizations. So first of all, who are Cook? Cook are a food retailer in the UK specializing in high-end ready meals and selling via over 500 shops nationwide. Like many retailers, digital is becoming an increasingly important part of their revenue, and they had a big thing. They wanted to increase their revenue. So they came to us and they said, we want Eggplant to help understand us, how we can improve our website, we can improve our digital experience to help increase our revenue. And the way we did that was via a customer experience optimization engagement, where we used user analytics and correlation with synthetic technical analytics and a performance improvement plan and performance analyzer to identify bottlenecks in the application and fix it. We identified the parts of the website that were really driving business performance, and by how much and how we could fix them. The net impact that we did in that project was we allowed them to increase their revenue by 7%, and we predicted this impact with a 95% accuracy. So you can see here is the story of Cook before we engage. So we can see that the conversion rate of 3.82%, a bounce rate of 46%, and a pages per session of 4.58. After the project, where we helped them improve their website, define the pages which needed to be reduced in size, made sure we delivered the above the line experience in a great way so that the user feels like they're getting some response. There's nothing worse than sitting there on a website for 5-6 seconds with nothing happening, and then you'll just end up leaving. Or even if you don't end up leaving, you go into the website with a frustrated experience, and maybe you don't purchase as much, or maybe you don't purchase at all. So you can see here, these are the business benefits that the Eggplant suite has managed to go and give to Cook. So what was the lesson learned at Cook? The lesson learned at Cook was that improving application performance really does increase revenues. There is no doubt, based upon all the research out there, that if you can improve the performance of your retail site, your revenues will increase. So now I'd like to go into a live demonstration of our products so that all the things that I've just been talking about can now be brought to life, and you can really understand the huge benefits that we're bringing to all of our customers. So what I'd like to do now is give you a bit of a demonstration of the Digital Automation Intelligence Suite and the Customer Experience Insights Suite, and show you how we combine both of those two suites of products to create our Customer Experience Optimization solution. So what you can see here on the left-hand side of the screen, this is a model of an application, or a website in this case. And let me explain to you what the model is. The bits here in dark purple on the screen, you can think of here as the screens of the application. And the bits here in grey, these are the actions that a user can take on those screens. And of course, different actions go and take you to different screens. So what we have here is really a digital twin of the application. Then what we do is we use AI to go and define the journey that we take through the application. So let me go and run this for you now, just so you can see exactly what I mean. So this model is now going to begin to execute, and you can see on the right hand side I have my Windows desktop system under test that I'm going to be connecting to. Now this model here is going to be using images, objects, API calls and integrations into databases to run the tests. So you can see now we're just doing the actions as a user would by opening up the website. As you can see here, we're going to go navigate to the home page URL. And you can see in the model here, we start highlighting the actions that we're doing on screen, so you can really easily see what journey we're taking. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, that journey is just random what it's doing. No, it isn't random. It is all decided upon by multiple streams of data which action is going to go and happen next. So it could be that we know that in this screen of the application that huge amounts of new code has been committed. And in that case, we'd want to know, well, that should be more likely to go and be run across by the model. But let's say this area of the application only had 5 lines, well, AI will downgrade that area of the model to be less risky, because clearly the more lines of code that are committed into an area of the application, the higher the risk. Or it could be that a bug was found. So let's say, for example, a bug was found here in the leggings section, and on that section there was a price and there was a checkbox. Then Eggplant AI will slightly increase the probability of things with prices and checkboxes in them, because it looks like there could be a pattern there. And oh, let's say another bug was found with price and checkboxes. You can see there that the bug hunting algorithm will start hunting around for areas on screen. The other thing a model allows you to do is to go and do any journey a user would go and do. So here on a retail application, a happy path might be to go and you go to the website, add something to the basket, select the credit card, select the delivery address, click buy. But a real user doesn't do that generally. Real users are quite random. A real user might add something to the basket, go to the checkout, enter the address, enter the credit card, but just before they buy, you remember, oh yes, I want to go add this thing to the basket. Go back 3 screens, scroll down, add the new thing, and oh, I'm going to change my credit card because that's the wrong one, and then I'm going to click buy. Most of the time, those sort of exploratory journeys would never be able to go and be automated, because there's not a product that does it, but also there just isn't time to go and write a directed test to go and do that. So Eggplant AI lets you automate anything that a real user would go and do. So really any user journey. And that is where most of the bugs are found. Most of the bugs aren't found in people's happy path testing. Most of the bugs are found when the user does something really weird within the application. So that's, hopefully you can see there how Eggplant AI is driving the system here on the right hand side. Now, we do also have the ability to create what we call test cases. So you might see that you've got a particular journey that is, you always have to be able to go and run as part of a test cycle. Well, you can very easily go and add those directed tests in here. The way you record a directed test is you just click through the model, as I am here, and you can go and record a journey within the test cases section that you see here. So no longer do you have to go and write code to go and create a test. You can have a model like this that anyone can understand, because it's just a picture of the application itself. Click through and generate the test. So you could have a product manager or a test analyst creating these. You don't have to have any technical background to be able to go and create a test. We provide you with a coverage report at the end of your execution. So you can see here we have different types of coverage. I'll explain what these mean. All nodes coverage means that it's talking about individual actions and individual variables being used. You can see that we have a total of 119 actions, and in this particular model we've so far hit 37 of them, and we've got a pass rate that you can see here, although some of that's because I've aborted the test at different points. We can then go to all pairs. So what that's going to say is how many times have I done this action then this one, okay? And for all pairs we've got 1,315 pairs. Now that's quite often where a lot of the bugs will go and be found. So what we do is we can allow you to optimize the execution of your tests to get to the pairs coverage as quickly as possible. So you can see now that we can go and understand the coverage that you've got of the application. Now we can also go and drill down into the run report, where you can go and see different pass and fail reports, and we can go select those here, and we can see all the actions that are taken, and we can see that we get screenshots if something fails. So really, the Digital Automation Intelligence Suite allows you to test any platform, Mac, Windows, Linux, iOS, Android, and we allow you to do any journey that a real user would go and do. So now I'd like to go and take you into our Customer Experience Insight Suite. And the product that I'd like to show you today is what we call Real Customer Insights, which is our real user monitoring product. So what does the real user monitoring product do? Well, it lets you follow every user journey and every action that a user takes post-production on your website, on your mobile app, on your thick client, and then understand how technical outcomes are also having an influence on business outcomes. So let's have a look here. We can see here that on this particular website that I was just automating using the DAI suite, you can see that we are matching up page impressions and page load time to revenue and bounces and conversions. So we're allowing you to see what influence does the speed at which my page loads have on revenue. Now clearly, if your website is performing poorly, you're probably going to have more people leave to go to another website or a competitor. You know, if it's taking a page 10 seconds to go and load, after 5 seconds most people have left, because nowadays everyone is relatively impatient and knows that there's probably going to be another site that works a lot faster and a lot quicker. So you have to understand the experience your real users are having so that you can then go and make adjustments to the experience so that you can increase your revenue, increase your conversion, increase your bounces. So we can do some pretty cool things with this product. We can go and chop the data up. So maybe we want to go and chop it up and say, let's go and see what the experience is for Android users. So I can go here, click on Add Android, click on Apply, and here is the experience for Android users. So for Android users, it's pretty poor. I'm going to be very honest here. 6.5 seconds that this page is taking to load, and you can see here revenues are, you know, when the page is loading slowly, dipping down to quite a lot. To this point, you know, at £0, as you can see over here. Now what we can then do is add a series, and we can then go and compare iOS and Android users. So you can now go and say, okay, rather than filtering this one on Android, we'll filter this one on iOS, click Add, click Apply. And we can now start seeing, the line here in blue is our iOS, and we can see here, lot quicker on iOS than Android, almost twice as slow on Android. So although the overall average page load time across the whole set of, you know, desktop and mobile is very good, we've clearly been able to use the real customer insights product here to highlight a weakness in the performance of the application, and that's something we can go ahead and improve. Now we can also in the product understand when we're hitting our KPIs, is everything performing as it should do? And we can see here actually a few of these aren't. We can see here our response start time is 8% slower than usual, our page load time is 12% slower than usual, and we've got 4% more than usual bounces. But conversions, revenue and active sessions seems to be okay. So our product here allows you to really understand the health of your online and your digital business as users are using it. So this is the really cool part. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could take all of that post-production data where we're understanding every single thing that a user's doing and feed that back into the Digital Automation Intelligence Suite? Well, the answer is yes, we can. We've solved that problem. So everything I showed you just a moment ago, if I go shrink down here, bring you to the model, this model that you see here was actually auto-generated from the data that we've gathered from our real customer insights product. Not only that, we've also adjusted what we call the weightings on every single action in the model. The weighting here is a probability that a certain action will get executed. We've also automatically generated the most popular user journeys that the real users in live are doing and automatically added those into the model over here. So that's pretty amazing. This might have taken weeks, if not months, to be able to create a model like this to go with all these specific weightings and all of these different test cases. We can now automatically generate all of your test cases for you in a matter of seconds once you've got the data that the users data from what the users are doing on the application. This is going to revolutionize the way that people do testing. No longer are you going to sit there and write your 1,000 test cases, 1, 2, 3. No, you're going to be able to understand what are the users actually doing and then feed all of that information to automatically generate the model, automatically adjust the weightings in the model so that it behaves exactly as your users are, and automatically generate the most popular user journeys. So no longer are you guessing which tests you need to go and write, you are writing the ones and the journeys that the users are actually doing. So I hope that's been interesting today. Thank you for watching, and do get in touch with us at sales@eggplant.io, and also visit our website to go and read about more. Thank you very much.